Everybody, welcome back to the channel with part 2 of my PTS review for the Greymoor chapter. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the item set changes, not the new item sets, but the changes to existing items for ESO. I'm talking about monster set changes. Then we had updates to the Maelstrom Arena weapons, as well as Dragonstar Arena, and some other item set changes as well. I would say in terms of the overall changes for the chapter, these might be the most controversial, especially when we look at the monster masks next here, because a lot of these got nerfed or they got nerfed with slight buffs here and there. So as always, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Remember that these are not final changes. This is just the first week of PTS. So definitely let your feedback be heard. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this. So starting off with the monster mask changes, the developers did include a comment here where they've been updating these to be more comparable to 5-piece sets in regards to set bonus efficiency. What that means, who knows? I mean, maybe they're just putting these numbers in a spreadsheet and seeing what comes out. But like I said, there are lots and lots of changes here. Let's start with Battle Org. This set now grants weapon and spell damage equal to the amount of ultimate spent rather than double, which is what it was previously. And now also grants physical and spell penetration equal to 23 times the amount spent. So let's say, for example, you have 100 ultimate. You use this, and now you have 2,300 spell and physical penetration extra, and you also have an extra 100 weapon and spell damage. Not that bad. They did also increase the duration here, which I like. 12 seconds is good. And the extra penetration is okay. I mean, the developer comment here basically says this is supposed to be a burst set, I'm assuming for PvP specifically, and the extra weapon and spell damage just wasn't cutting it. And so they added the extra spell and physical penetration. That might be a clue that they need to maybe deal with some of the armor values in PvP, but instead they just decided to change the monster set. So, okay, I don't think that one's that bad. But then we get to Bloodspawn right away. And hey, if we didn't call this like 6 months ago, I know I talked about this on the channel before, especially in PvP, you have so many builds running either Bloodspawn or Troll King, and after they nerfed, Pirate Skeleton and a few others, this was just next on the chopping block. Come on, you guys knew this was coming. Regardless, they reduced the armor granted about half there, so down to 3,300 from 6,400. They reduced the ultimate down to 8, but they did reduce the cooldown as well, so potentially you could get this up a little bit faster, 5 seconds now. They talked about how it's an older set and it hadn't really been adjusted in a while. So the reduced duration and cooldown helps tone down in smaller skirmishes while retaining some of its power in outnumbered situations, since it will proc more frequently and give ultimate each time. So I don't know what you guys think about that. Let me know in the comments section if you feel like that comment is accurate. Just overall, I think across the board, they're just really lowering the power of these 2-piece sets, which I don't know how I feel about it, but let's keep looking here and see what else we have. So, Choke Thorn. This set now heals for 24,000 health over 6 seconds rather than 19,000 health. So this one actually did get a little bit of a buff, in my opinion. The heal is longer, but it is for more. They also increased the proc chance. And now this is what's interesting. It may be a nerf potentially. Reduce the range of the beam. They basically cut that in half, down to 15 meters, in order to introduce more counterplay. So yeah, the beam is huge, on Choke Thorn, and there really isn't anything you can do but wait until that proc goes away if you're trying to kill somebody in PvP with Choke Thorn procced. So this will help with that potentially, but then they also have it for more time. So I don't know. I don't know if this is a buff or a nerf. It's kind of both in that case. Dommy House. Maybe this got a buff. Let's see. This set now grants 300 weapon and spell damage rather than 200, so that is a buff. The outer ring now deals more damage, okay, and they remove the proc chance. So that is a buff. I don't think that's useful in PvP necessarily, but maybe PvE, this has some applications now, maybe even for hybrid builds. We'll see. That's interesting. Earthcore, this set now heals for 29,000 health over 10 seconds, rather than 30,000 health over 6 seconds to reduce the burst heal potential. Okay. They also reduced the cooldown. Pretty significant reduction there. 20 seconds now, down from 35 seconds. So that has basically, what, a 50% uptime. If you think about it, the heal is up for 10 seconds, and the cooldown is 20 seconds. So, I don't know. Again, buff or nerf? It's an interesting attempt at balance there, at least. Now, Engine Guardian, this set got pretty wrecked. If you look at the sustain here, now restores 550 magicka or stamina rather than 1200 per tick. Though they did increase the healing quite a bit, which is, that's okay. They reduced the range of the beam, so just like Choke Thorn, this now has a reduced range. And they fixed some bugs here. So that is quite a large hit in terms of magicka and stamina sustain. But again, increased healing, I don't know. Let's go ahead and read the comment on that. Similar to Bloodspawn, Engine Guardian is from a different time. It's from a different time, you guys. Oftentimes, monster masks deal with resource management are stronger than 5-piece counterparts. So they're trying for a healthier balance between all sets. The healing has been increased to better match other healing sets. Okay. Let me know what you guys think of that one as well. Grundwolf, they reduced the resource restore on this, so that's a nerf there. Alambris, though, got a bit of a damage increase here. Meteor Shower now hits for 2k instead of about 1k. But you can no longer layer each Meteor Shower, so I guess that means you can only have one Meteor active at a time? So is that really a buff or is it a nerf? I'm not sure. They did increase the proc chance, so that is good. Fix an issue where the set's fire damage was not extended by Elfbane. That's interesting. So this should be buffed by Elfbane now. Infernal Guardian got a bit of a nerf here in damage. Damage down there. Fixed an issue with hardening and chance. Okay. Kajalnar's Nightmare. One of my favorite things to say. Kajalnar? Kajalnar's Nightmare. Fixed an issue where the damage of the set would fail to inherit some bonuses. Okay. Crag's got a buff. Check this out, you guys. Check this out. This is, wow. Wow. If you don't have this set, pick it up because it now has 45 extra damage per tick. Nice. Lord Warden reduced the armor bonus of the one-piece set to 1487 down from 2975. So they reduced the armor by about half. Wow. Decreased the armor bonus of the proc as well. Interesting. Okay, I think we're going to see this across the board as well. So if you like to run two mix-matched armor sets for getting about that 6k armor, that might not be a thing anymore, unfortunately. Marcelok reduced the damage done. Maw of the Infernal streamlined the attacks down to every 2 seconds. They increased the proc chance. Daedroth can no longer be targeted, so that's interesting. I wonder if that means it can no longer be stunned as well. Not sure. It just says it cannot be targeted. Change the one-piece bonus from max health to max magicka. Okay, interesting. They did actually get rid of a lot of these max health bonuses, which we'll see coming up. Mighty Chuden, same thing as Lord Warden, you guys. They reduced the one-piece bonus, cut it in half in terms of those resistances. It's kind of sad. Molokina increased the weapon and spell damage slightly. Mother Cena increased the magicka. Narineth increased the damage a little bit there. They also increased the proc chance. And the one-piece bonus now grants spell damage rather than max health. It's not bad for damage. Bogdan, they decreased the healing just slightly. That's barely anything, but they did increase the proc chance, so that's not bad. 20% proc is pretty good. A lot of proc chances, though, I thought, some of the discussion was to get rid of proc chances to help with server issues. So interesting. You still see a lot of these proc chance sets. Pirate Skeleton reduced the one piece again, so that's what they're doing across the board. Decreased the cooldown. Okay, so they nerfed the cooldown hard a while ago, and now they're decreasing it. Interesting. They also upped the proc chance. Okay. Scourge Harvester decreased the damage, increased the proc Celine's got a buff. That's interesting. Celine's is a good monster set, and they buffed it even more. Wow. Celestrix. This is a good set. This does like an Earthquake stun. It's one of my favorite sets, especially for PvP. They increase the damage a lot. That's a good buff. It also no longer has a proc chance, which is awesome. And they just increase the cooldown slightly. So this is good. This is a good set. If you haven't used it, check it out for PvP. It's pretty fun. Sentinel, they reduced the proc. Oh, they removed the proc completely. See, that's weird. Why do some sets no longer have a proc chance and some still do? I don't understand. Reduce the tick, the amount of heals by 1, but they increase the magicka and stamina restore, I guess probably to match up with that. Okay, whatever. Shadowrend. Oh, they did not nerf Shadowrend, did they? You guys, I just published a build with Shadowrend like last week. This set no longer applies minor maim to targets for 3 seconds, but instead reduces their damage done by 5%. 5% debuff, really, for 2 seconds. It cannot stack. So this is interesting. Significantly reduced the damage, really. 800 per hit from 3,200. Reduce the whatever. Come on, guys. Really? Did you really need to nerf Shadowrend? Previously, the set was enabling far too much damage. Really? It was not a damage set. It's more like a utility set. It's great for soloing if you don't have access to minor maim, but now it no longer does minor maim. That's pretty sad. So they want to make it basically a tanking set. Fine. I mean, that's cool for tanks because now you have a unique source of damage reduction, 5%, that I'm assuming you can stack with minor and major maim. It's great for tanks, bad for solo players. Onomafala increased the damage per tick by about 300 there. Stonekeeper reduced the health, magicka, and stamina restored. Huge reduction there. Looks like they also reduced the cooldown, though, quite a bit. So maybe that'll make up for it. Stormfist increased the damage slightly. Swarm Mother changed the one piece of the set to 1,000 max magicka and max stamina. Wow, that's a great one piece for Swarm Mother instead of the useless stamina recovery on a block set. This is actually quite good. Symphony now restores 570 per tick, down from that massive amount. Jeez. Thorvaldkin reduced the damage per tick. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Increase the cooldown to 16 seconds, up from 8 seconds. That's huge nerf. Let's see. This was a permanent and then some uptime of minor defile and maim. It was significantly stronger than other sets. Yep. So extra cooldown to kind of adjust that. Okay, I could see that. Tremor scale, they increased the damage of this set, increased the cooldown to 8 seconds. Enemies hit now have their physical resistance reduced by 2395 for 8 seconds. Rather than being snared, remove the proc chance. So cool. I mean, nobody really used this anymore. The snare is gone, and now you have a unique resistance debuff. So that's another option for tanks. It's a good option for PvP probably as well, just for that extra resistance debuff, although it's only physical resistance. So we'll see. I mean, I think it's improvement, but I don't know if anybody will use it still. All right, Troll King. Did Troll King see a nerf? Reduce the health recovery to 925 down from 1548. Yep, that is a nerf for sure. Man. So across the board, I mean, nerfs pretty much is what we're seeing. Valcon, one piece bonus is now spell penetration rather than max health. Decrease the splash damage. Okay, this is not bad. I mean, what you can think about too is the extra spell penetration, even if you're running this on like a stamina build, like a stamina dot build, stam DK or something. This will actually make the proc hit harder because it's based on spell penetration, not weapon penetration. So it's not bad, not terrible. Veladreth, increase the damage just slightly, reduce the cooldown. Okay. Zahn, decrease the initial damage. Bit of a nerf there, but they increase the damage scaling bonus to 100%. Increase the beam duration and increase the proc chance. So this almost seems like a buff. Let me know what you guys think. I don't use Zahn very much. So they decrease the initial damage, but the scaling damage is basically doubled. So this has to be a buff, right? I wonder if they did that because earlier we saw it's no longer affected by Elfbane, I believe. All right, so that's the monster set changes. Again, huge sweeping changes across the board. Some are just kind of okay. Some are pretty significant nerfs. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about those. Let's jump to arena weapons next. This is another huge section. Bit of controversy here as well. So normal arenas will now drop normal versions of the sets, so keep that in mind, while veteran will drop the perfected versions of these weapons. Perfected sets grant all the same bonuses, but will have extra bonus stats. Also, they don't mention it, but apparently your current arena weapons will not update to the perfected version. So what we've heard so far is that we'll have to redo the arena to get the perfected weapon. So some changes to Asylum Weapons. This is interesting. Casting Whirlwind now envelops yourself with a whirlwind for 6 seconds. Strikes out to 3 random enemies, dealing physical damage. Perfected version has 666 weapon critical. Okay. Perfected version grants weapon critical. Concentrated Force. Perfected version no longer has a unique value, and instead grants up to 103 spell damage. Okay, fix some issues with this, that's fine. Defensive position, so the one-handed shield, increase the base restore to 2200 magicka. Maximum restore to 6600. Perfected value grants 877 max stamina. Discipline Slash, reduce the maximum ultimate returned to 12, down from 15. Fix an issue where the ultimate restore started at 48.9 rather than 49.9. Okay. Fix some issues. Perfected is now max stamina. Piercing Spray, so our Asylum Bow enemies hit by arrow spray now have their physical resistance reduced by up to 6600 against incoming bow attacks. Wow, so they changed that significantly. Perfected version grants more physical pen. Okay, Timeless Blessing, reduce the cost reduction to 21%. Perfected version has max magicka. Okay. Black Rose Prison, Gallant Charge, reduce the perfected version armor to 1190. Mender's Ward, so Resto Staff, reduced the duration of Major Vitality to 2 seconds. Reduce the magicka recovery to 103. Radial Uppercut. This set now deals 45% of the damage dealt with Uppercut to all targets, rather than 100% to one target. Okay, guess that's not terrible. Penetration is now 1190 on Perfected. Spectral Cloak. This was a big one. This set now increases your damage done and reduces your damage taken by 10% for 2 seconds when you have Blade Cloak active rather than Major Protection. Okay. Virulent Shot, the bow, increased the damage this set does by 65%, up from 50. Perfected version is weapon critical. Wild Impulse increases the damage done by the set. Spell penetration on the perfected. Okay, Dragonstar Arena, the bow. This set now grants up to 330 weapon damage, up from 300. Okay, not bad. Kind of a buff there on that one. Destructive Impact. This set now grants up to 600 spell damage for 4 seconds after casting Destructive Touch. Wow. Reduce the cost reduction. Okay, so nerf there. Perfected version grants spell damage. Grand Rejuvenation. This set now grants up to 117 magicka and stamina to the target affected, up from 100. Perfected version has max magicka. Puncturing Remedy, that's the one-hand and shield. Increase the healing. Wow, look at that healing. That's a nice buff. Increase the duration of the armor bonus to 5 seconds. The armor granted will now incorporate overhealing into its calculation. What? Oh, overhealing. Ensuring it will always grant a benefit when engaged. Okay, so I guess if you're at full health, you still get the armor. Perfected version grants healing taken. This is nice. This is a nice buff for this older set. Do Will. This set now increases any instance of damage done with twin slashes rather than only the bleed. Okay. Perfected version is weapon critical. 2H. Titanic Cleave. Increase the stacking damage bonus to 1550. Increase the target cap to 24. Up from... What? Oh my gosh. I thought this patch was supposed to fix lag. Imagine a couple people with this 24 target cap in PvP. Yeah, no. No, we will closely monitor how frequently this allows utter devastation to large groups. And we'll address it appropriately so it functions to proximity debt. Okay, that's interesting. If you have this set, bust it out for PvP. That's wow. That's a lot of damage. Okay, let's look at Maelstrom. Maelstrom dual wield. Increase the weapon and spell damage. 1690 up from 1000. That's good. Effective version grants weapon damage. Crushing wall. Increase the damage bonus. Barely any increase there. Perfected version now gives you spell penetration. Merciless charge. Increase the damage done by this to 10,000 up from 7,000. It's a bleed. This perfected version now adds physical penetration. This is actually really good for PvP, I'm thinking especially. You might have to check that out if you have a bleed or dot build. Stamina DK maybe. Precise regeneration. Decrease the magicka granted down to 500. Remove the cooldown though. Cannot proc from the event of simultaneous critical heals. Okay. Perfected version grants spell critical. Rampaging slash, so one hand and shield, decrease the magicka and stamina restore. Perfected version grants 77 magicka and stamina. Barely anything. The bow, Maelstrom Bow. This set now increases the damage by 430 and increases by 143 per tick, up from 320 and 110. So a bit of a buff there. That's not bad. Stacks a maximum of 8 times rather than continuously. Perfected grants weapon critical. Traits. Reduce the armor trait impenetrable to 172. Fix an issue where pets could not inherit bloodthirsty or charge traits. Okay. So we talked about this in the combat preview, how they're adjusting impenetrable to basically make other traits like divines, sturdy, reinforced, make those traits more usable, especially in PvP. Compared to everybody just running 5 or even 7 impen traits. So that's the reason why this is right here. I don't know if this is going to be a great idea, if that's going to be successful, but that's basically what their plan is. That's the way they described it in the combat preview. So with that all said, that's going to wrap up part 2 of the PTS review for today. As I said, there's just so many item set changes. I thought it made sense to kind of roll this out in a separate video today. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys and you liked it. If you did, of course, don't forget to crush that like button for me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Coming up next, I'll be looking at the werewolf and vampire changes specifically, so expect to see a few videos from me on those topics coming up soon. And until then, I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe out there, and I will see you around in the next video.